It was bigger than a whale, meaner than a tiger shark, and scarier than anything that lurks in the darkest depths of our oceans today. It was Megalodon, the largest, fiercest shark that ever existed. This monstrous fish was 3 times larger than a great white shark, with jaws so big they could swallow a small car. And yet, despite its gargantuan size, it was amazingly agile, able to swim at speeds up to 35 miles per hour. But how did scientists learn about this behemoth? How can we be sure that it really existed? And why did it suddenly disappear from the planet? This is the story of the most terrifying shark that ever lived, the mighty Megalodon. The name Megalodon means big tooth, and when we think of the ocean, we think of sharks. So put those two together and you have a recipe for a monster. Now you might expect such a creature to resemble the huge whale shark, but that's not the case. The whale shark feeds on plankton and is totally harmless to humans. The Megalodon, on the other hand, was a ruthless predator. Just look at its teeth. Each one was about the size of a human hand and perfectly suited for crushing bones. Scientists estimate that the Megalodon's bite force was 40,000 pounds per square inch, much stronger than the already impressive 4,000 psi of the great white. But how big was the Megalodon? Well, that's tricky to answer. You see, unlike mammals, sharks don't preserve whole. They're made mostly of cartilage, which disintegrates over time. What does fossilize, however, are their teeth. And thanks to those teeth, we know the Megalodon grew up to 60 feet long and weighed more than 60 tons. That makes it 3 times larger than the great white. To give you an idea of how truly enormous this shark was, take a look at these vertebrae. They're from a humpback whale, approximately the same size as the great white. As you can see, they're huge. Yet the Megalodon was still almost twice as long. So what did this monster eat? Scientists believe it hunted giant whales, seals, dolphins, and other huge marine animals. To catch its prey, the Megalodon would use a technique known as breach and latch. That's when a shark jumps out of the water and lands on its prey, usually a seal or porpoise. Then it would bite off its flipper or tail, crippling it and making the capture easier. Since many of its prey were quick and maneuverable, the Megalodon needed to be swift itself. Researchers believe it could swim at speeds up to 35 miles per hour. This is evidenced by the shape of its vertebrae, which are more slender and flattened than those of modern sharks. This gave the Megalodon more flexibility and maneuverability in the water. How do we know all this? Well, to begin with, there are thousands of teeth. The Megalodon has been found in every ocean on Earth, even inland fossil sites. Some of these teeth are in museums today, others are in private collections. For example, there's the 1980 basking shark tooth, purchased by National Geographic for $5,750, or the 1834 Sowerby tooth, which sold for $28,000. Plus, there's the fact that the Megalodon preyed on giant whales, which went extinct around 3.6 million years ago. Why did this happen? One theory is that the ocean's climate changed and the Megalodon's habitat began to shrink. Another is that new predators like killer whales and smaller, faster sharks stole their food. A third is that the whales simply migrated to colder waters where the Megalodon couldn't follow. Whatever the reason, the world changed and the Megalodon couldn't keep up. Today, the ocean belongs to the fishes. But until 3.6 million years ago, it belonged to the monsters. The mere thought of a shark this size is enough to send shivers down our spines. But to those who lived back then, it was a terrifying reality. The Megalodon swam in the very same waters as the ancestors of today's whales. And if they were lucky, those ancestors managed to escape its grasp. As for the Megalodon, it became a victim of its own success. It grew too big and too powerful, so nature took its revenge. Some people believe the Megalodon still exists in the deep ocean, but there's no evidence to support this. There have been no credible sightings, no fresh teeth, and no sonar evidence. The truth is, the ocean is vast and full of mysteries, and we've only explored a tiny part of it. So who knows? Maybe the Megalodon still swims the seas, hiding from us in the darkness. Or maybe it's nothing but a legend, a myth passed down from the ancients who told tales of sea monsters to scare children into staying away from the water. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: the ocean is a dangerous place and we should never forget it. Now check out biggest animals that ever existed on planet Earth, or watch this video instead.